Okay, now that we've seen the ETF, or not the ETF, the money market fund ecosystem, and we know that there's prime, tax exempt, and government, what we're looking at now is the actual data itself from the OFR. I'll recommend this website. This backs up, the video basically because we have prime, government, and tax exempt. These are all considered government money market funds, which are available to retail investors. So this is like your SPACs, your XTSLA, the stuff that holds your cash for you basically. Whenever you sell your positions and you have settled cash, that's what's holding your cash. It's a constant NAV, meaning it's always going to shoot for that NAV of $1 because it's a constant NAV fund. Now, in the other case, none of these are non-government. If it's a non-government, then it's available for institutions, basically, and not retail. And it's a variable NAV. So it's not the same NAV. That's the difference. So we're looking at government because these are retail and institutions combined. And the institutional increase has been seen as of late in the repo market as far as demand. So once you download the data, it prints it to this Excel, and then we can look all the way back to 2013 up to today. Now, you'll notice that there is gaps in the reporting. You're going to get a total amount, but you're not going to get the individual amount because this is going off the New York Fed website, and you can't actually break it down further into which exact type of repo it is between government, prime, or tax exempt until, only once a month at the end of the month. That's why you see these gaps as far as these columns here. So the columns we're looking at, we have total here, prime here, government here, tax exempt here, and we have the date. So I want you to pay attention to the government column, okay? Whenever you look at the government column and you scroll down, you notice that once you get to about the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2019, sorry, my kids run so loud and I don't feel like redoing this video, so I'm going to keep going. Look what happens when you get to December 31st of 2019. You're looking at like, 500 million here, shoots up to 19 billion here, back down to 4 billion, back down to 2 billion as far as the government side here. And then we skyrocket to 235 billion March 31st, 2020. This is when the SLR requirements or, relief kicked in for the banks. This is what ended this year on March 31st. And we suddenly saw the repo demand right after that. So now fast forward to 2021 and look, pay attention to this government side here. Look, this was the entirety of that day. The entirety, basically. The entirety, basically, of 2020. The entirety almost. Actually, it's about half and half on this one. December 31st. So now let's look at the total amount. 9.6 billion to end the year, to start the year. It was the same amount 4 reporting periods in a row. Then the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, we basically bounced around between little to no demand compared to what we see today. Then we have a whole week without any demand, or a whole week as far as trading days. Week and a day. Then we kick back up to 600 million. Another break. Then we go to 4 million. Then January 20th, we skyrocket to 1.8 billion. January 21st, go back down to 1.2 billion. Have a 3-day break. And then on the 25th of January, we all of a sudden see 2.2 bill, the highest of the year so far. Next day we go down. Next day we go down. Next day we go back up. Guess what happens on the 29th? Skyrockets, almost triples to, doubles to about 7.1. Stays exactly 7.1 for the remainder of time that trading is halted. Crazy shit, right? Then all of a sudden, it goes back down because we got them. We got those stupid ass apes. They're going to sell. We're going to short ladder them, and they're going to be left with the bag. They even got so cocky. They got it all the way down to 0 on the 10th. They got it all the way back down to 0. And then what happened? On the 11th, oh shit. Open back up at 108 million. Then it goes down. They do a good job. It gets it back down to 0. They have their stupid hearing and everything. And then what happens? We get to, the Feb run-up era period of time, 24th, 26th. Never looked back since then. Why? Because no one sold. Now they're effed because retail's got all the leverage here because we're holding all the shares. Clearly, based on the data here, what in the last 6 to 8 years, what started causing a spike in retail demand, or not retail demand, but repo demand? Clearly holding, because it goes back down to 0. And then as soon as we get that second pop in February, not ever have we looked back. We go to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Look at the government side. 2 to 78 to 120 to 380 to 678 to 739. It's blowing up. It's a balloon, basically. What's the cause of it? That's the unknown, but it's likely retail and holding. And it's interesting that Fidelity's the number one participant in the repo market. And of course, the number 2 participant behind Fidelity is the bank they use, JP Morgan. So just want to show you the data now that you understand what each one of these are. Crazy shit.